And Caitlin Clark is participating in shoot-around this morning, going through warm-ups, then some non-contact drills with the second team. She hasn't officially returned to practice, I'm told, but this is her first time working with the team since her injury.
Okay, this is huge. Caitlin Clark just set foot back on the court. The entire WNBA is buzzing. After weeks on the sidelines with that tough groin injury, the Indiana Fever star guard is finally back in practice. Oh, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so you never miss one of our deep dives. The big question now, does this change everything? Is she risking a return too soon, or is this exactly the spark the Fever have been praying for? One thing's for sure, the league is not ready for what's coming. So, what's your take? Should Clark push through for a comeback this season, or shut it down until she's fully healed? Here's the reality. The second Caitlin Clark hit the hardwood again, the WNBA lost its mind. And honestly, it's not surprising. Everyone knows the league practically runs on her star power right now. Ticket sales, TV ratings, highlight reels. You name it, she's the centerpiece. Even at less than 100%, her presence changes the entire playoff picture for both the Fever and the league as a whole. That's why the panic button just got slammed. Let's be real. When Clark first went down, the narrative was clear. Indiana was cooked. This wasn't some minor setback. Groin injuries linger, and they already had Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, and Ari McDonald out. The Fever looked less like playoff contenders and more like a team hanging on by duct tape. Without Clark's vision, deep shooting, and her ability to draw 3 defenders at once, their offense honestly looked like a YMCA scrimmage. No exaggeration. But now, suddenly practice footage is making the rounds. Clark jogging, passing, drilling shots, running warm-ups. She's not cleared for full contact just yet, but she's close enough that everyone's asking, when is she playing? Fans went absolutely crazy the moment those clips dropped. Comments flooded in with predictions, memes, and total meltdowns over her return. And the league? They're nervous but desperate, because Clark is both the one player they can't afford to lose and the one player they absolutely need to keep the spotlight locked on the WNBA.
Good sign. So let's check this out. This is the schedule. 6 p.m. tonight, the Lynx. Yikes. All right. Guys, we're in must-win territory right now. For the playoffs, we are in must-win. The Storm, got to be Tuesday night. I don't think so on this either. However, 4 days later, basically 6 days from now, against the Sparks, and this is a big game.
Here's the real question. Should she even return this season? That's the debate lighting up everywhere right now. On one side, you've got the shut it down crowd, insisting Clark's long-term health matters far more than a desperate playoff push. Groin injuries linger, and the last thing Indiana, or the league, needs is Clark making things worse by trying to carry a struggling roster through the final stretch. On the flip side, Fever fans, and let's be real, the WNBA's marketing team, are desperate to see her back. To them, the season feels meaningless without her. They want Clark on the court not just to give the Fever a shot at relevance, but to keep arenas packed and cameras rolling.
It is. I mean, seeing her out there, little passing the ball around, doing some calisthenics, getting the juices flowing. I know a lot of you are like, why come back? Why come back? Well, look, if she's back and she can get in the flow, and she does need to come back, I think with several games to go to get back and try to find her first rhythm for the year, really and truly, getting a good, then yeah, they become very dangerous with a big 3.
Now here's where the panic really sets in. This isn't just about Caitlin's health. It's about the massive ripple effect her return could create. Picture this. Clark comes back next week against the Sparks. That's a must-win game, and suddenly the Fever's playoff chances look completely different. Meanwhile, the Sparks and the Valkyries are fighting for the same spot, which only raises the stakes. On paper, the league plays neutral, but behind the scenes, trust me, they're sweating. Because a Clark-led Fever in the playoffs means higher ratings, bigger revenue, and way more drama. That's the cold, hard truth. The WNBA needs Clark in the postseason. Without her, it's just another Liberty versus Aces showdown, and for fans outside New York and Vegas, the question becomes, why should I even care?
The Sparks are right there with us on the playoff race, and they hold tiebreakers. By the way, so do the Valkyrie. All right, we do have one win. I believe it's one win over the Mercury. And then we've got a Sky team that we should beat, a Mystics team that we should beat, but you can't. I mean, who knows? I think they beat us in the last game. And then we close out the regular season with the Lynx. We're not making the playoffs without Caitlin Clark. There. Yeah, I said it. We're not making the playoffs without Caitlin Clark.
All right, let's break down Indiana's side of this mess, because Caitlin Clark's absence has pulled the curtain back on a lot of uncomfortable truths. First off, Aaliyah Boston hasn't looked nearly as dominant without her. We've said it before. Clark sets Boston up with better looks than anyone else. Without that connection, Boston just doesn't resemble the future MVP everyone was hyping her up to be. Sure, she's still putting up numbers, but defenses aren't exactly losing sleep over it. Then there's Kelsey Mitchell. She's been grinding to carry the scoring load, but even her biggest nights feel wasted. Why? Because there's no floor spacing, no rhythm, and no Clark pulling defenders away. That's why Fever fans started rocking those Kelsey MVP shirts. They're desperate for anything to make the season feel like it's not completely slipping through their fingers. But here's the thing. Clark's return doesn't just patch up the offense, it puts everyone else on notice. Opponents who trashed her while she was sidelined are suddenly facing her again. Cheryl Reeve, Minnesota's coach who seems allergic to Clark's very existence, now has to game plan for her. Players who threw shade online might regret it too. Say what you will about her turnovers or rookie struggles, but when Clark is on the floor, the Fever are flat out dangerous. And that's where the real league-wide panic sets in. It's not just about her health, it's about knowing those easy nights against a weakened Indiana team are over. And let's not forget the refs. Oh yeah, the same officials who've been blasted all season for letting Clark get beat up like she's in a boxing ring. Do you think they're thrilled about her being back? Please, every time she steps on the court, they're under a microscope. One hard foul or missed call, and social media lights up with viral clips in seconds. The league understands that protecting Clark isn't just about her health. It's about safeguarding the one player fans are actually showing up to watch. And let's be real, referees who already look in over their heads half the time are suddenly under enormous pressure to step up. Good luck with that. But here's where things get really interesting. Clark's mindset. She's not built to sit on the sidelines if she believes she can contribute. This is the same player who carried Iowa through brutal March battles, never shied away from competition, and thrived under insane pressure. If Clark feels she can play, she's going to push for it, no question. Reports already suggest she's restless, watching from the bench while her team blows, leads, and crumbles in the second half. She wants to be out there. The real question is, will Indiana's medical staff allow it, or will the league step in, quietly nudging the Fever to protect their golden goose from herself? It's a mess, and honestly, kind of hilarious when you compare it to other stars. Plenty of players miss games, and hardly anyone outside their fan base notices. But when Caitlin Clark simply touches a basketball in warm-ups, the entire league feels it. That's not panic. It's the reality of how dependent the WNBA has become on her presence. And here's the truth. If she comes back sharp, even at 80%, she could completely flip the playoff picture upside down. If not, the Fever are basically toast, and the league knows the spotlight dims fast without her. So let's break down what this comeback really means, starting with the Fever. Indiana's playoff hopes are hanging by a thread. The Fever have been patching their rotation with hardship signings, rookies, and pretty much anyone they can find. Honestly, it's gotten to the point where nobody would be shocked if they held open tryouts at the YMCA. Without Caitlin Clark running the offense, the team looks lost, blowing leads, stumbling through the third quarter, and practically giving games away like free samples at Costco. Her return to practice won't magically fix everything, but it does give the Fever life again. Just her presence shifts the entire dynamic. Defenses adjust, spacing opens. Aaliyah Boston finally gets a break from constant triple teams, and Kelsey Mitchell doesn't have to play superhero for 4 straight quarters. Clark's gravity on the floor, whether she's at full speed or not, immediately makes the Fever both watchable and competitive. That's exactly what rival teams like the Sparks, Valkyries, and Sky are dreading. Because if there's one thing we've learned about Clark, going all the way back to Iowa, it's that she doesn't ease back in. She goes full throttle. Remember her rookie debut? She was pulling up from the logo like she'd been in the league for years. That's who she is. If she's healthy enough to play, she's healthy enough to torch somebody. Let's be real. The WNBA has a problem. For the past month, the league coasted through a Clarkless Fever. And the truth is, the games were so uneventful that only diehard fans were really paying attention. But now that Caitlin Clark might be back, the spotlight is blazing again. And so is the scrutiny. Every foul, every shove, every hard screen instantly goes viral. A single bad whistle becomes a trending clip. The league can't hide from it anymore, and that's fueling the panic. Just look online. A simple clip of her shoot-around spread like it was the second coming. Fans immediately started speculating about which game she'd return for, dropping highlight montages and debating whether she should sit the season out or jump back in for the playoff push. And as always, the loudest voices aren't Fever fans. There are people who either can't wait to see her succeed or can't wait to see her fail. That's Caitlin Clark in a nutshell. Love her or hate her, you're watching.